Hey, welcome back to the spot for Euro Fantasy. I'm Asa Rehman, and if you're wondering about the new look, well, my father-in-law graciously offered up his beautiful office for this high-quality production, and we're going to make the most of it. A quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure you like these videos as well. Appreciate all the support. Okay, very clear nautical theme here for today's video. And no, I'm not trying to step on Net That Hall's toes in any way whatsoever. Love their stuff. Check them out. Check out their YouTube channel, Net That Hall. A lot of great FPL content there. No, instead, we're just going to work with what the room is giving us. So we're going to try to find the best catch for the semifinal stage of Euro Fantasy. Should be a whole lot of fun. I'm going to be going through a couple scenarios here using 5 transfers ahead of the deadline. One where I focus on England assets and then one where I go in a completely different direction for differentials. Okay, let's get into it. And this is what my lineup looks like heading into the semifinal match day. And if you're wondering about some of those assets that I have right now that weren't in the last round of matches, such as the Netherlands group, the foursome there, Memphis Depay, Denzel Dumfries, Declan Burke, and Wijnaldum. Well, I'm coming off of using my limitless chip, so that's why these players are back in the lineup for me, and I'll have to remove some of them. But let's just start with the most expensive assets on the team, which are those 5 starters that you see right there, and remove them out of the lineup. And I've got some injuries that I've got to deal with as well, a little bit concerning, but first let's get rid of the dead weight, and that includes Denzel Dumfries, Paul Pogba, Kevin De Bruyne, Memphis Depay, and Karim Benzema. So those players are all gone. Thanks so much for your contribution. No longer needed in my team. Yeah, Sarabia and Laporte doubtful for that match against Italy. Concerning, obviously, but I can't worry about that right now. I've got to deal with the other players that are no longer the competition. And I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to go after the England assets to start. So Raheem Sterling, definitely one of them. He was on the limitless team last match day, and I'm going to bring him back into this group as well. Probably a defensive option, but let's start with that forward position first, and Harry Kane, who's coming off a brace, and I anticipated that, mentioned that in the last video as well, that after he scored in the previous game, I thought that he could break out against Ukraine. He definitely did that, bagged the brace, and was a top performer in that game. So let's add him to the group, and before we add our third defender, which will probably be an England asset, let's spend a little bit of money and get another quality player, and Insigne coming off that goal, which was just magnificent. Let's get him in the group. Love the way he's played the entire tournament. So let's add him to the mix. And now I like the way that midfield looks now with Insigne there, and that's where I'm hoping to get some points. Berardi's good value and really didn't have a chance to move any of those players. So Insigne in. And now let's think about some defensive options. And I have to just acknowledge Denmark because they have some good options, but we'll leave that for later. Let's get our English asset for this lineup. And Luke Shaw is really interesting. Stone's interesting as well. Kyle Walker was on the limitless team. I made a mistake there. Should have gone with Luke Shaw instead. Fully admit when I make a mistake, and I did there. So Shaw, the better option. I'm going to chase points, I guess, with this one. Maybe I should go back to Walker, but for the time being, let's keep Shaw in there and then add that last forward position. So the last spot to be filled here, and I like those Danish options. Poulsen, Dolberg, very good, but Morata is the one we're going to go with for this lineup. So this is, I guess, my optimal 11. Can't even call it a 15 anymore because those players on the bench will not be entering the game. But those 5 transfers to hopefully stay in the competition, stay alive in Euro Fantasy. Okay, let's get the English assets out of the lineup now and replace those 3 positions with players from Denmark. So we're just going to go the other way here and see what we can do. I did mention Braithwaite before, but I really like the way he's been playing. So let's get Braithwaite in the mix, and a differential pick, really, right? Someone that most others would not be considering. So let's add him to the mix. And Joachim Mæl's been awesome. Can't deny what he's been doing. So Mæhl and Damsgaard will be those would be the 3 Danish assets that I'd add. Then Braithwaite, Damsgaard, Mæhl. Not bad. And we're well below the cap with this lineup, though. And then I've got Striker as well on the other side. So 2 Danish defenders. Damsgaard has had a pretty good tournament. And then Braithwaite, Bit of a differential there. People will probably be looking at Dolberg or Poulsen. I'm going to go with Brathwaite instead. So this is the differential 11, if you will. And it might go that way, just for the fun of it, right? Euro Fantasy, why not? Okay, that wraps up the Euro Fantasy semifinal special. Let me know what you think of those two options. And if you have any questions about your lineup, hit me up in the comments below or on Twitter at @TheSpot4FF or at Asa Rehman. Enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend, whatever you're doing. Do it safely. Thanks so much for hanging out at The Spot.